The story I'm about to share with you just proves that you cannot stop gold, but it can keep you going. I'll explain what I mean in this real-world example, how a nation has been saved by its gold. Let's talk about it as we explore. For thousands of years, gold has proven itself as a store of value. Central banks know this today, and this is why many nations around the world have been accumulating it at a record pace since 2022. Why is this? Well, because currencies, they eventually die. Every single one of them, and yes, even the almighty dollar. As much as I talk about it, and in terms of its value for the whole world, and it is a very powerful currency. There's no mistaking that. Notwithstanding, gold is even more powerful, and one nation knows this for sure. Tony Erickson shared with me a piece here from Bloomberg that discusses this, and it is intriguing. And this is one of the reasons why I continue to buy gold. In fact, I just got a shipping notice from SummitMetals.com, the channel sponsor, and in that package will be a little bit of gold that I'm going to be adding to my stack as well too. Since 2017, I have made a marked difference in my strategy and I started accumulating a bit more gold, precisely because it does protect during these times, and even during economic shakeups like what we've been seeing lately. Well, gold has been hit hard, but not as hard as silver and other assets out there. And make no mistake, I believe in silver as well, but nonetheless it is more volatile, and we're seeing that play out. Russia has embraced gold, and it has served them quite well. They're reaping the benefit of a pre-war gold buying spree that's helped to offset roughly a third of the frozen assets in its rainy day fund. The value of Russia's gold reserves has surged by 72%, or $96 billion, since the beginning of 2022, according to central bank data. The physical amount of gold in the Bank of Russia's coffers hasn't changed significantly over the last 3 years, remaining at around 75 million ounces, according to data. And so that is a pretty amazing. And now there has been some selling off a little bit of their reserves, but not a whole lot. In fact, it was misreported by several news agencies, including myself, which quoted some of those news agencies. And by the way, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you a recently acquired piece of gold that I'm going to add right here later in the video, and one of the reasons why I bought it. So the fate of the country's reserves that were frozen abroad as punishment for the Russian President Vladimir Putin's 2022 invasion of Ukraine remains uncertain. The European Union hasn't ruled out using some of the funds to help Kyiv to fight against Russia or to finance reconstruction after the conflict ends. In the worst-case scenario, where none of the frozen assets are recovered, the increase in the value of Russia's gold would compensate for about a third of the potential losses. Should Donald Trump's efforts to end the war lead to the unfreezing of all the remaining reserves, the Kremlin would sit on a financial cushion the likes of which it had never seen before. So there it is. And just to show you who says that war is not profitable, it's crazy. Russia will reap the benefits of that, for sure, if their assets are unfrozen. Gold is relatively illiquid compared to other traditional reserve assets such as U.S. Treasuries or European debt securities, according to Tatiana Orlova, an economist at Oxford Economics. But high current global demand for gold could make it easier than usual for the central bank to sell a relatively large amount of it in the case of a balance of payment crisis, she said. And that is something that could come and that would save Russia, in a sense. And by the way, when I'm talking about saving, how it can save, a nation and how it can save you as well, make no mistake, there's a saving from economic hardship, and there's a saving of one's soul. There's a vast distinction between the two. We know that the most important thing is our souls and humanity itself, and there's only one Savior for that, and his name is Jesus Christ. But nonetheless, That's an aside point here. Now, we know that the Central Bank of Russia started its splurge going way back to 2014, following its illegal annexation of Crimea, which triggered Western sanctions and its expulsion from the group of 8 countries. Between 2014 and 2020, a time when the gold price ranged from about $1,100 to $1,500 per ounce, it increased its reserves of the precious metal by 40 million ounces. Yeah, it's crazy. Those were bargain prices back then, for sure. You know, I was a little bit late to the game. Russia started in 2014. I had some gold certainly before then, but I started accumulating more frequently starting in 2017. Since then, now the metal's price has more than doubled, pushing Russia's total international reserves close to an historic high of nearly $650 billion as of the 1st of April. The Bank of Russia is currently among one of the top five largest holders of gold among central banks, based on data from the World Gold Council, with $229 billion worth of the metal in reserves. Following the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, the U.S. and its allies imposed a new wave of sweeping sanctions of key sectors of the economy and state entities, including freezing some of the bank's reserves. According to Bloomberg calculations based off the latest available data about the structure of Russia's foreign currency reserves, blocked funds may amount to about $322 million. $322 billion. According to that data, Russia held half of its reserves in dollar, euro, and pound sterling assets. The rest was invested in yuan and gold, which remain accessible for emergency use. Since the start of the war, the central bank has ceased publishing data on specific composition of its foreign exchange reserves. Accumulating a gold pile was a hedge against geopolitical shock, and it worked. The Bank of Russia's approach to gold purchases addressed 3 different goals: diversifying international reserve assets away from the risk of reserve currency issuing countries, and number 2, boosting domestic local currency liquidity by exchanging physical gold for rubles, and the third was to provide a source of stable demand for local gold miners. The increase in the value of gold holdings proves the diversification and hedging value of gold reserves, according to Alex Isakov. Gold has hit a record high. It topped out about $3,167 an ounce, before pairing some of those gains to a growing concern over escalating trade and geopolitical tensions fueled by the recent tariffs, and it sends traders to havens. Of course, we know that gold has started to recently get hit a little bit more, but it's still very close to $3,000 an ounce as I record this video. And even as such, there's an order I placed some time ago. It took a little while to ship out, but it finally came in, and here it is. Yes, indeed. This is my second one of these coins. And now, why did I get this coin? This is a very high premium proof coin from the United States Mint. I got it for bullion price, essentially, and even a little bit less than that. And it came in the package from JM Bullion. They had these things. They got a whole slew of these things, apparently. And I don't think this package was opened at all, since it was the Mint shipped it out. The way that it was put together, it looks like it's direct from the Mint. It's crazy. But you can see what has accumulated over these last 7 years now, and that is copper spots. You can see that on there. But other than that, the coin looks great, and I probably will try to get rid of those using the baking soda and aluminum foil method in boiling water, hot water, and see if it gets rid of those. But I'm a little nervous about doing it on a proof coin. But adding another ounce of gold to the stack, complete with the packaging and everything. And this coin is somewhat special because it marks the first time in the High Relief series that they have done a 225th anniversary medal that serves 2 purposes: as American Liberty and the anniversary of the United States Mint. So it has that dual purpose role there. And it has edge lettering on it, as you can see there as well. And so there is that aspect of it that I think is unique. So very interesting indeed. Another ounce to the stack. and an issue price, which, by the way, even with the recent pullback in gold's price, I bought it for less than what they're selling it for now over on their website. So there is that. But nonetheless, it's very rare that I make a purchase over there. But nonetheless, these were in special, and sometimes the specialty coins, you get them, especially if they're proof coins, you can get them for bullion. Why not take advantage of that? And so that was the impetus for making that purchase and adding another ounce to the stack. Now, let me know what your thoughts are about what Russia is doing. And I think the way that it can protect you is, look at what these central banks do. Be your own central bank. We very well could get into trouble someday in our finances, and gold is there to help us. It is illiquid in some ways, but you can always sell it, and places you can sell it for, the more that it goes up, the better off you're going to be. And even if it goes down, you still have some cushion, especially if you hold it for the long term. But in the end, what it boils down to is wealth preservation over the long course of time, and at the very least, a bit of savings. And so understanding that the premiums you pay for your gold, you're not going to get back when you go to sell it. And so that's why, it's a good idea to have gold and hold it for a long period of time, so that those premiums can be swallowed up. And whatever losses you may take when you go to sell it back to a dealer, which, depending on the market, is going to be under spot price usually. But back during the day, when people saved gold, they would do it like this. This is a $20 gold piece, and it was used as money to actually circulate around. And, of course, these were not circulated very often because $20 was a lot of money back then. In fact, it was worth about an ounce of gold back then. Yes, indeed. And this is about an ounce of gold, 0.96 ounces. So there's that. And so this is the way people saved. And even after the gold confiscation under Executive Order 6102, they could hold 5 of these in their possession, $100 worth of gold. And so there it is. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below about what Russia's doing and how you can protect yourself with gold. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.